Bismillah and Assalamu alaikum to all my lovely Form 3 students. We are going to have another English lesson today, and today we are going to be studying grammar, as you can see above. Okay, this is our topic for today is the second conditional. If you remember, last week we learned two types of conditional, which are zero and first conditional. Just to recap, is when you use the word if or when. So kita nak buat ayat kalau. If this happens, what happens? Alright? And I'm not going to go too much into the zero and first conditional. If you don't remember what they are, please refer to your notes or the notes in the textbook. Today we are going to focus on the second conditional, which is on page 77. So you should open your textbook on page 77. And our learning objective for today is for you to be able to write sentences using second conditionals, if and unless. So these two words we are going to write sentences using if and unless. So first of all, we are going to see what is second conditional all about. Okay, I'm going to my face from this video so we can go to the textbook. Let's see, textbook. Where's the textbook? It's not appearing. Give me a second. Is that up? No, it's still not up. What happened to the textbook? The textbook is missing. Give me a second while I figure this out. Okay, we have the textbook, Alhamdulillah. So this is page 77. What is the second conditional? First, we are going to read A. Read the sentences below. What tense is used with if? So if. Number one, you would be more relaxed if you did yoga. Number two, if I won Wimbledon, I'd be famous. Wimbledon, by the way, is the name of a famous tennis tournament. And number three, if I were you, I'd eat healthier food. I'd, here is I would, okay? I'd is I would, short for I would. And would, of course, is the past tense of will. Okay, so what tense is used with if? Tense. Did. And then here, won. If I were you. These are all the past tense. So second conditional, we use the past tense. And now we are going to look at the functions of the second conditional, of which there are three. Second conditional we use, so let's read B here. We use the second conditional for A, things we know will not happen now or in the future. Okay, things we know will not happen now or in the future. The keyword is we know will not happen. Okay, so it's never going to happen. And B is to give advice. And for the third one is things that probably won't happen now or in the future. So the difference between A and C is we know it won't happen, and C is probably won't happen. Yang kita tahu takkan berlaku, dan kita rasa macam tak akan berlaku. Rasa saja, tapi macam tak berlaku. Let's take a look at the three examples in A. So A, I mean this A, A ni. And then we refer to the functions here. Things we know will not happen. Which one is it? Is it sentence number 1, 2, or 3 that we know will not happen? It is sentence number 3. If I were you, I'd eat healthier food. Kalau saya jadi kamu, if I were you. But there is no way that I can be you. Takkan boleh berlaku. Will not happen. So we use the past tense there, if I were you. We don't say if I am you, I were you. B is to give advice. Which sentence, 1, 2, 3 in A here is for giving advice? Nasihat. It is number 1. You would be more relaxed if you did yoga. So nasihat, dia cadangkan orang tu buat yoga. And C, things that probably won't happen now or in the future is number 2. If I won Wimbledon, I'd be famous. But I probably won't win. And I probably won't even play in Wimbledon. And I probably also won't be famous. So second conditional ni bila mostly kita cakap tentang perkara yang negatif, tidak akan berlaku, tak mungkin berlaku. Kecuali satu saja, bila kita bagi nasihat, also we use the past tense. Okay, is that clear? Okay, I hope to hear your answer, but you probably cannot answer, or even if you answer, I won't be able to hear it from this video. Anyways, moving on to the next one, which is C. Read the sentences and answer the questions below. Number 1, Jack could win the race if he had better running shoes. Jack could win the race if he had better running shoes. And number 2, you might not win the match unless you get another tennis racket. Okay, so there are 2 sentences here. And we have 2 questions below. A, what other words can we use instead of would? There is a mistake here, I think. It is not would, it should be could. So could kat sini. Jack could win the race if he had better running shoes. What other words can we replace it? Well, we could use words like Jack might, Jack would. Right, Jack might win the race, Jack could win the race if he had better running shoes. Okay, so this sentence means, you see, because it is using the past tense here, that means this is the second conditional. In other words, what it's trying to say, Jack, kalau kita terjemahkan dia, Jack mungkin menang kalau dia ada kasut sukan, running shoes, kasut untuk lari. But what we are trying to say is that probably won't happen. Dia tak akan berlaku, sebabnya maknanya Jack akan kalah sebab dia tak ada kasut. Okay, the implication is when we use the second conditional, maksudnya probably won't happen. Walaupun kita kata dia mungkin menang, tapi sebenarnya hakikatnya kemungkinannya dia tak menang lah. And then number 2, the question is what word, number 2, not number 2, B. What word can we use that means the same as if not, kalau tidak? Refer to number 2, you might not win the match, and the word is unless. So you can use also the word unless if you don't have if in your sentence. Unless, because if, unless means if not, kalau tidak ataupun melainkan, that is unless. Okay, so that is it about second conditional. We are going to look at, the page is not loading. Okay, now it's loading, sorry for the delay. Exercise D, rewrite the sentences in your notebook using the second conditional. Sentence number 1, I don't have a bike, so I get the bus to the football club. So how are we going to write this sentence in the second conditional? Well, we can use the word if or unless. And let me change, give me a second while I put the blackboard on. Okay, here we have the blackboard. The sentence is, I don't have a bike. Is it I don't have a bike or bicycle? I don't have a bike, so I get the bus to the football club. Okay, so I said that we can write this using the word if or unless. So if you use the word if, you say if I didn't have a bike, and you don't need so anymore when you use conditional. If I didn't have a bike, you need to put would get the bus to the football club, like this. Football? Not football, okay? Football, typo there. If I didn't have a bike, so we have if, and then we also use the word would. If I didn't, I would. We could also use the word unless. And if you use the word unless, we don't use the word don't anymore. Sebab unless is the same as, you have to remember, unless is the same as if not. So not tu dah ada dalam perkataan unless. So you just say unless I have a bike. Okay, and have will be in the present tense. It's not in the past tense anymore. Unless I have a bike, I would get the bus to the football club. Okay, so that is the difference when you are using if and unless. Okay, kalau guna if, you have to say I don't. Negatif kan? Sebab bila kita guna second conditional, ayat dia semua tentang ayat tidak mungkin berlaku, tak mungkin berlaku dan tak akan berlaku, ataupun nasihat satu lagi. Okay, so now I want you to do the exercises in your textbook for number 2, 3, and 5. So all of these exercises, I will put up an assignment on Google Classroom later. So finish the exercises and send them to Google Classroom. Okay, so that is for exercise D. And now let's take a look at exercise E. Okay, so finish exercise D first. Pause the video if you have to. And after you have finished, let's take a look at exercise E. Here. Complete the second sentence so it means the same as the first. Use as many words as you need. Because we have discussed just now, kita boleh buat dua bentuk ayat. Kita boleh gunakan if, kita boleh gunakan unless. And number 1 here, you might be off the team unless you say sorry for hitting the referee. So how can you say this? Unless you, we'll do number 1 together. Unless you say sorry. What's that? Oh no. That is not what I wanted to write. Alright, it's gone now. Unless you say, I keep typing, spelling the wrong word. Sorry for this. Okay, now I can spell sorry. Unless you say sorry for hitting the referee. Okay. Finish the sentence. How do we finish the sentence? Unless you say sorry for hitting the referee, comma, you might be off the team. So this one, not too much difference. You just have to flip the order of the sentence. Tukar demi susunan ayat dia sedikit saja. ... Finish the sentence on your own. And number 2, if Stella doesn't start practicing, she won't play in the match. Okay, so we see here number 2 dia pakai if, but it wants you to change it to unless. So remember tadi kalau guna if, doesn't, but if you use Stella, we don't use the word doesn't anymore. So unless Stella also start ni, dia akan jadi present tense. Unless Stella starts practicing, ... Finish the sentence, okay? So this is exercise E. Rewrite the sentence as given, but keep the same meaning. Okay, finish that one too, until question number 5. Okay, so please, again, pause the video if you have to. Of course you have to. And finish this exercise first. And then after you have finished, please continue the video and we are going to look at exercise F. Now, exercise F. Complete the sentences with the correct form of the verbs in brackets. Add commas where necessary. Okay, so please add commas. Commas is very important when we are writing conditional. Kalau tak ada comma, penanda kecil sahaja tu, your sentence could be wrong. Alright, so we'll do number 1 as an example together. Should I play basketball or football this evening? If I be you, I not play either. So this is second conditional. If I, ingat, kita tak boleh jadi orang lain. So it is impossible. It is never going to happen. So we use the past tense. If I were you, I not. Takkan. And what tense do we use? The past tense. So the past tense of will is would. I wouldn't play either. Okay, I'm never going to play. In other words, that's what you're trying to say. Alright, so please complete all of these exercises, write them in your book and submit them to me in the Google Classroom link that I am going to give you later. I'm going to put it in your classroom, your not your classroom, your, what is it, your class telegram. Alright, so that will be the end of today's lesson. Thank you very much, and I will see you in the next one. Oh, one more thing. Please be prepared for exam next week. Alright, till then, see you all. Assalamualaikum.